Right, welcome back. We're going to be talking about something that I know you're going to think, oh, tyres aren't exciting, but as a guy that's raced cars and reviewed cars and tested cars, I know just how important that black rubber thing that your car comes with actually is to ensuring your car keeps you safely on the road. So joining us now in our studio here, we've got Jacques Rikhotso, who's the chairman of the SATMC, but also MD of Bridgestone here in South Africa. Jacques, before we get into the whole tyre thing, because you and I can do this for days.
For sure.
SATMC.
Thank you.
Just explain to us what that is. Is that all of the local tyre manufacturers getting together and saying, how do we protect our business?
For sure. So the SATMC is the South Africa's Tyre Manufacturers Conference. It practically constitutes of all local tyre manufacturers in the country. Our role mainly is to look at governance issues, regulatory issues, promoting environment for the local industry to thrive in the local environment, as well as support the automotive sector in general locally, and contribute to the global supply chain of tyres. Like we've done so well as individual companies to set ourselves up technically, brand-wise, to make sure that from a local point of view we appeal to the local consumers, and globally the four tyre companies that are in this country are of top global appeals, and so that's what we constitute of.
Look, I think for our viewers, they don't always understand just how cutting edge our manufacturing systems are here. You know, whether you're going into the car OEM plants, I've been to the tyre manufacturers here. It is state of the art, it is world class, but we face challenges. What's been really tough is protecting this market, because it's become a dumping ground for products from other markets. What have you guys done as a SATMC to regulate that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been fortunate, especially in the South African automotive sector, or South Africa in general, is that we're actually a matured automotive market. We're a matured automotive industry, so we've got both component manufacturers as well as the OEMs themselves that manufacture top brands in this country, sells them locally and export. Now, that makes us attractive, not only for ourselves, but makes us attractive for other manufacturers from other markets, especially markets that are only developing today from a manufacturing point of view. Markets that actually have got, I'll call it government support for their startups, markets that actually are using our market as a growing base, and therefore product ends up being dumped in the country. Now what that creates is an uncompetitive environment. And what we've observed as the SATMC is that specifically for tyres, we've seen a lot of markets dumping tyres in this country. What we've done as a start is to lobby government, is to expose areas of uncompetitive behavior by particular markets. And I think credit to our government, they've been able to be responsive in those areas, and where tariffs had to be adjusted, they've done so. However, there's been areas where there have been gaps. You know, where we find these companies which are based in particular markets have been dumping in South Africa. Once tariffs get increased to equalize,
they ship from another
just
port.
move to another port.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's become a massive problem that people don't realize. So you keep following them around and shutting them down. But I think what's important for people to understand is that those tyres, that's why I made the joke about people don't see value in a tyre. It's a grudge purchase, but how important that thing is. And it's in a way to try and educate consumers to understand it, and the safety element that goes into reputable brands, not the upstarts. But at the end of the day, it's like I look at it and I kind of go, I'm going to buy what's cheaper. That's always the bottom line. So unless government is protecting you from a tariff perspective, it's got to be fair. And those companies aren't invested in the local industry in any way, whereas you guys are employing people. You're giving people jobs, and what's the knock-on effect to those families? And we've had a scary year this year with another tyre manufacturer that's no longer.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you know, the issue about the technical competence of a tyre in a vehicle, and I worry every time we talk about it, because like it should be so obvious. And I always tell my colleagues and tell the people in the homes that, listen, automakers can make a car that can drive at any speed. The single biggest factor is not speed, but is how quick and safe you can stop. Now, from where we are at a local point of view, the companies that are here, we've been able to manufacture and partner with the local OEMs to manufacture tyres specific and graded for those vehicles that are manufactured locally at an international standard. Now, what we see is that there's a flurry of cheap imports that are coming into the country which do not qualify to a large extent the safety levels which the local market is driving at, fitting to local conditions, with all the difficulties that we find ourselves in during the wet rains, what we find ourselves during the pothole environment. Now, all of those safety measures matters a lot. Now, what we don't see is our consumers sometimes, they fall for these, I'll call it cheap imports, and therefore put themselves at risk.
Yeah, it's the bottom line, but they don't look at what that cost is. And I'm glad you touched on it. We'll wrap there. That localization is crucial. I mean, you guys can chat with OEMs and say, how do we make this work for us? You've got a new model that's coming out, something you're building here. How do we make sure that the tire that's going on there is coming from our local supplier, but also that you are making tires for our market, because we're not a plug and play. South Africa's a hybrid market. Our road conditions are not. It might work well on the Autobahn in Germany. It's not going to work so well navigating around South Africa.
No, definitely. So I think one of the things that makes us so successful as local manufacturers is that our testing environments are based on local environments. Our manufacturing is at a local level, standard, global. We're able to manufacture locally and export to all over the world because the standard is made at the global level. However, the conditions from which we build our product is meant for the local environment, and for that reason, most of our local consumers have enjoyed safe, I'll call it safe driving conditions with our products, and for that reason, we still continue to appeal for the local consumer to be aware not only of the standard but as well as local manufactured products for use in our local environment.
Jacques, thank you for your time. Really nice to talk to you. We're going to have a short break, and when we come back, we'll obviously continue our industry-related conversations. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and thanks obviously for thinking bigger and thinking Nedbank Commercial Banking.